Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us on Joyasonyelive this evening. It's always wonderful to have you, and today is Friday, and as you already know, we have the Buy Naija Hour here on Joyasonyelive every Friday. For a couple of weeks now, we have been talking about achieving rapid development in the micro, small and medium enterprises. And our guest who has done justice calibrating this topic with us is here again. Today, we would go finalize that topic by going through achieving MSMEs. It's always a mouthful for me. Micro, small and medium enterprises development in Nigeria. We had handled how faith-based organizations can contribute, how the federal government can contribute, how states can contribute, local government as well, MDAs and so on. Today we will look at the high network individuals in our community, how they too can facilitate the MSME development in Nigeria, especially with the shared facility clusters that my guest has always been advocating for. For some of you who are just joining us for the first time, my guest, the regular guest on Buy Naija Hour, is Apostle William Iheanacho Otabil, Chairman, Buy Naija Project. Thank you so much for being part of this edition.
Good evening, Joy, and good evening to all micro, small and medium enterprise people, and good evening to Nigerians. So we've been talking so much about the micro, small and medium enterprise being the drivers of growth in Nigeria and Africa, or any other country for that matter. And we've been talking about innovative investment initiatives that can be pioneered by different platforms, the federal government, the state government, the faith-based initiatives. Today we want to just do an overview of what we've been talking about, but we are concentrating on high net worth individuals, especially the politicians, the senators, the federal house of rep people, state house of rep people, and all the billionaires and all the big boys in the neighborhood, how they can actually key into investment in the micro, small and medium enterprises as the drivers of the economy in their own constituencies through the shared facility industrial clusters that have embedded in them where we can now have the marketing and the selling and the local patronage of products and services, because the end point of every production, every investment in entrepreneurship ends up with selling the finished products, buying the finished products. That's why we are promoting Buy Made in Nigeria through the Buy Naija project of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, and of course production. We highlighted the last time SMEDAN, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, being the people who are supposed to be the chief drivers of production concerning the Buy Naija project, because if you produce everything you produce and nobody buys it, it is useless. And if you're talking about Buy Made in Nigeria and there's nothing to produce, or there's no enablement by way of investment, there's nothing to buy. So we are handling everything here in a holistic manner. So today we are going to concentrate on the high net worth individuals.
Right.
Good.
So, Apostle, I mean, you're leaving it to their goodwill. First of all, for those who might need things into perspective, let's go to who they should consider as high net worth individuals around them? I know you gave an overview as to the senators. Politicians aren't supposed to be wealthy, but you mentioned them nonetheless. So let's talk about who a typical entrepreneur, especially those within the micro and small, medium size enterprise, not medium now, micro. You like to
micro and small.
And I learned that they are the nano sector that feels like very often we keep them aside. So yes, here we have inclusivity. So it is the nano, micro, small, medium enterprises. So what should they look out for? Should they check their pockets? Should they start invading their bank accounts? How do they know that these people are the high net worth individuals in their communities?
The high net worth individuals, they know themselves. When we talk about politicians, they know themselves.
Politicians?
They have access, and the civil servants, they have access to capital. They have access to influence. They have access to production capital, so to speak, in summary. And I'm talking within the context of our own ecosystem, within Nigeria. No, when I say high net worth individuals, we know the take-home pay of a senator.
Have you factored in family, friends, Zaza friends?
The first people they should factor are the micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs, which includes their cousins and their brothers and their children.
You mean individuals can actually champion this shared facility industrial?
Nobody who earns 30 million naira a month will say he's not a high net worth individual. Nobody who has, I know all of them, they don't have anything minimum of 5-6 big cars in their garage. Each car they have in their garage can fund 4 bakeries. No, let's face reality. Now, a man has a 40 million naira vehicle times 10. That's 400 million. You are talking about, it's mind-boggling. Nobody's quarreling with you. But if you sold one 4-wheel drive in your garage, like I told one of my friends, I went to his house. And the many people bear me witness, even as I'm speaking on television now. And I saw 15 vehicles. And none of the vehicles was less than 10 million naira by the price of those days. So I said, listen, each of your vehicles here can build 4 bakeries.
And this person doesn't have a logistics company?
He doesn't. It's just his personal car in his personal garage.
Right.
And we know they exist both at the federal and state level. There's a governor who said they seized 30 cars from him, 30 vehicles, high-end vehicles, that it was part of the retirement benefit. No, it's in the public domain.
Why are you getting defensive? I said nothing.
No, I didn't want you to start accusing me of maybe
I said
something that is in public domain.
I don't have details to that.
I have details to it, right. As a media person, as a journalist. It's in public domain. It's in the newspapers, even today, yesterday. So what I'm saying is that a man who is defending the fact that he has 30 vehicles recovered from him were part of his retirement benefits. And we read in the news, many of these former governors, they have cars, retired generals who are retired, and we saw in the papers that they have 20 vehicles to their benefit, and they will be changing 4 every year. What I'm trying to translate it to, I don't have any problem with them, I'm not a politician, is that one of the vehicles can build 4 bakeries, can build 3 fish farms. So there's nothing wrong with those high net worth individuals. Sell one 40 million naira vehicle and empower 10 people in your ward level. There are about 9,800 wards in the whole country. That's very small. When you hear 150 billion, 100 billion, all manner of billions, to set up a micro enterprise person or to sequester the money and build a community-based shared facility industrial cluster in a senatorial district is small for a senator.
It is?
It is very small because the senator takes home, I don't want to talk about the yearly money, I'm talking about monthly, over 30 million. And he has influence to attract constituency projects. So why can't we make major part of the constituency project to be shared facility industrial clusters that give all these MSMEs infrastructure?
Mr. Otabio, I mean, that's the one I can agree with. He seems more pragmatic rather, to ensure that these constituency projects are targeted in the shared facility industrial clusters. However, when you talk about their personal preferences for how many cars they have and how they have exotic taste for food, like you had mentioned some time ago about somebody who would have to travel almost twice a month just to go shop abroad for commodities he would need in his home. Let's see, how could we ensure that these constituency projects that they have the access to develop and have is some of the things you are recommending as a way to revamp our MSMEs in Nigeria?
Good. I'm going to concentrate on where you are trying to sequester me into.
Thank you.
Trying to make these high net worth individuals to use government money
exactly.
to do
that seems more feasible.
No, it is very,
if you
we have to cajole, we have to encourage our high net worth individuals to help their people.
First of all, these high net worth individuals, do they know that MSMEs are the oil, the heart?
That is what we are trying to get across to them, that this program, for instance, is supposed to let them know, bro, don't do what business as usual. Because if you are telling them to go and be doing a constituency project, they will say, oh, I gave them a
palliative
transformer. I gave them palliative. That I will mention a matter of palliative today. I gave them palliative. You discover that the palliative they gave to them, 70% of them were consumed by the same elites themselves. There is a matter that is on ground now, which will soon burst open, that past palliative that were given were now converted to loan, and they are debiting the account of the people. It will soon burst.
So those palliatives were not grants.
They were supposed to be grants, but they've converted them to loan, and they are debiting the poor people.
Who had received?
Yes, there are records. Palliative to punitive. That's what I call it.
Punishment for receiving money
that even the main people, I don't want to talk about that now. Let me round it up.
The journalist in me will not let it just slide like
that. Know. That's the journalist in you. I'm holding myself too.
Right.
Because
naturally I want to know who is.
But that is not our focus now. Don't let us deviate from our focus. Okay. I will mention it maybe in the next episode. By then it would have come to public knowledge.
In the
palliative to punitive. But what I'm telling you, if you tell them now to go, they will say, yes, the process is on. Last year I did transformer. The other time I did road. We don't want you to limit yourself to that narrow bandwidth. We want them as high net worth individuals, whether you're a senator, whether a federal house member, whether you are a politician, a businessman that wants to go into politics, the way you can endear your personality, right, your ambition to the heart of the people is empower the entrepreneurs. I call it Project Power for Power.
Power for power. It sounds very powerful. However, do these entrepreneurs know they have the power to also call on their representatives to say, yes, this is where it is lacking?
If you don't empower us, we will not put you in power. Project Power for Power. So when you empower your constituency as entrepreneurs, and we have an organized way through the shared facility, industrial, commercial, and housing cluster, they will put you in power as their representative.
Or keep you in power as
the case may be. Or prevent the other stingy man from removing you from power.
And that's the problem with politics, won't you say, when you say that politicians as high net worth individuals should now engage in this kind of
what is the benefit of
because where I'm going with this is there are other projects that some people might find dear to their heart, and I am very critical of people who say if you do not look at a certain sector, that means you're not doing right. There are several other sectors. So is it encouraging if the constituents, the electorates, the office of the citizens decide that, oh no, if he does not look into the MSMEs in our constituency, then he is indeed not a good politician?
What we are doing is to draw attention to the places that favor the masses, the electorate. Every member of the Nigerian populace, whether it's in the Sumutong, whether it's in Calabar, whether it's in
okay, now you're trying to hit home.
I'm hitting home, whether it's in Akwete, whether it's in Kara Namoda, they are agro-based entrepreneurs. They are doing shoes, they are selling rice, they are doing rice, they are cultivating yam in Benue, they are selling potatoes in Jos, they are doing tomato in Kano. They are leather products and footwear in Banin Kebi. Okay, they are doing one thing or the other in Songota. They are doing something in Damaturu. They are doing something. So that which affects the people, the mass of the people, counts. Good. Do your roads. How many times will you bring transformer to a community? Once. Maybe in 8 years. The transformer is not going to be renewed. You know, they expire. But that which will affect the young people, and they are not smiling, is that which affects their day-to-day livelihood. What affects Mama Ejima, Mama Yabo, affects Mama Yerima, affects Mama Ahmed. All over the country, they are doing one thing or the other. It is not your transformer. Maybe when you bring the transformer self, the whole power goes, the power consumption of the transformer goes to the house of all the politicians. These people don't even have air conditioner. They only need to light 3 or 4 bulbs in their houses. So why are you telling me you brought transformer to them? That is a constituency project, which is good. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to channel emphasis to that which affects the livelihood of the young girl, the young man, the retired person. When you have a shared facility industrial cluster in a senatorial district, for instance, the man who just retired has a shared facility infrastructure that brings down the cost of infrastructure. Standard organization is there. Smedan can relate with them. Buy Naija can relate with them. They have shared problems. And if you want to now give money to Ukwa East Senatorial District, where I come from, you know you are targeting it to that area, maybe for textiles. If you are going to a particular senatorial district in Ogun State, you know you are targeting that industrial cluster there, And they are so organized that nobody is going to run away with the money that is invested in that cluster. And you don't ask me, where will we sell our shea butter that is from senatorial district in Kebbi State? Of course, we are selling it on a central Buy Naija platform, and you get your money. And so the people who funded that cluster, the cooperative, whether it's a widows cooperative, whether it is a whatever cooperative, you are sure your money is coming back because that cluster is project managed.
Okay. So let's move a bit away. We will be back to the high net worth individuals in our communities. But let's talk about a recent story I stumbled on. The African Development Bank came out earlier to say that 20 governors were seeking investment in agro industries worth as much as $540 million. We have heard this over and over, that the AFDP constantly tries to assist. But when you hear about agro-industrial investment or zones, this is this is another word, or rather, this is another phrase for the same thing. That is the shared facility industrial clusters. Here they are calling it agro-industrial zones. Why don't we see impact after these loans or these grants are given? International communities have done several. We've seen Nigerian governors get loans here and there for such things. It's all fun and games to say that individuals should look towards it, but our government has been collecting lots of monies.
Now, if I must say, you have made the job easier, because why there has not been success in those monies is that there is no framework, there is no integrated platform that is fail-safe, mark my words, fail-safe, well encrypted, end-to-end, no leakage, where those funds can be channeled into and they are accountable for and they are targeted to achieve, if not 100%, at least near 100% effectiveness and efficiency in achieving the purpose for which they are sent and the desire of the funding agency. So if 20 governors come and say they need money for
special agro-industrial processing
zones, we need to adopt the shared facility industrial cluster. Not only will all the 7 pillars for industrial effectiveness and efficiency be achieved, there is shared facility infrastructure, there is shared standard maintenance by standard organization, Smidan is there. You have investment now that is targeted, and there is a wholesome local patronage pillar. The finances are coming from the African Development Bank. So everything, innovation comes in. Every innovation that is available for the ecosystem and the Nigerian economy will be channeled there, monitorable, scalable, measurable. There can be monitoring, evaluation, and reporting online, real time there. There's enough technology. So there's no leakage. So you cannot tell African Development Bank to give you money. Then at the end of the day, they can't even account for the money. It's not going to work.
Of course.
If you are doing the same thing you've been doing for how many years in the same way, and you are achieving 10, 15, 20% efficiency and effectiveness, if you still pump in all the billions of dollars into that same platform and framework, it will give you the same result. So that's why we are saying, listen, let's change the strategy and implementation tactics for this. Let us use the shared facility industrial clusters where all the individual participants are project managed. We have enough retired but not tired people. Retired from the ministry, retired from the banks, retired from the oil industry, retired from every area, entertainment. A wholesome society that is being built afresh. Forget the old failures. I'm not here to criticize them. Neither am I here to praise anybody. But let's change our approach. And don't tell me you know it. If you knew it, why did we find ourselves in this quagmire? So
from your colleagues.
Well, you know, colleagues have the good, the bad, and the ugly, which I agree. Okay. Every family has the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are now arising, repenting on behalf of my colleagues.
Right.
We messed up.
Okay, I think it's a good time to go for a break. When we return, we'll still be discussing how we can achieve this SMEs development, micro, small, and medium enterprises development in Nigeria, and ask the Buy Naija chairman, the Buy Naija project chairman, if he would approach these governors so that these beautiful ideas that he has would come into use. We'll be right back after this short break. This is still Joyasonyelive. Welcome back from that short break. We are still having the Buy Naija Hour here on Joyasonyelive, and we've been discussing with Apostle William Iheanacho Otabil, Chairman Buy Naija Project, and we've been discussing achieving MSMEs development in Nigeria. We have taken the conversation to the African Development Bank that is being approached now by 20 Nigerian governors for help to establish the special agro-processing zones. And my question before we went on break was, would the Buy Naija project, with I'm sure you have your proposals and how we can revamp these MSMEs in the country, would you approach these governors or the AFD for to collaborate?
The best people to collaborate with first are the governors. They own the land. They have the executive powers. And they have their people. The African Development Bank is a behemoth, it's big. And the beneficiaries are the people who should make sure that it works. Because if it doesn't work at the state level, there will not be another round of funding. So we want to offer the governors a platform through which they can actualize this dream of receiving funds, make it work efficiently and effectively and sustainably.
That's the most important
component. Development funding agent, number one, they need credibility, they need doability, is doable, is sustainable. Sustainability is key. And the sustainability, the doability, the efficiency, the effectiveness will depend now on the kind of platform you put in place in your state to achieve those icons of measure for key performance.
Right.
Now, the shared facility industrial cluster that we know and will have the back end to implement end-to-end up to the issue of supply chain management, because which is the end point of production, is people must buy what you produce, and they are competitive locally and internationally. We can deliver that to them. They don't need to have any headache. But if they want to do the business as usual, every other fund they have given to them before has been frittered away. We know that. They know that. So any governor that wants to achieve good performance for their people and credibility for his own political growth, let's talk with you. Let's guide you. Forget about all those professors who will come and tell you things they learned in the school. Forget about it. We are talking about practical Nigerian situation, how to succeed.
Homegrown solutions.
Yeah, homegrown solutions. That's why I keep on telling them, hey, my brother is a professor. I hear you. Your brother gave them solution 8 years ago. They are dead. And
you don't believe those theories would necessarily
they will not work.
Okay. When I read through what the 20 governors were proposing, it was almost as if they got this idea from you, although theirs is just in the agro-processing sector. They said, let me quickly just reel out what is written here. The program would raise the output of commodities such as rice, cassava, cocoa, which are grown in Cross River State, and beef and dairy cattle in the FCT, livestock in Imo State, beef and dairy, tomato, maize and ginger, Kaduna State, rice, tomatoes, groundnut and sesame oil from Kano State, livestock, Kwara, cassava, rice, poultry, fisheries, Ogun, cassava, soybeans, rice from Oyo. So is that, if you were to write this document for the AFB, would you have clustered it the way I just read it? And is it part of what you believe in? They
are very accurate in sectoral delineation and the comparative advantage and competitiveness of its state.
Right.
That's okay. That is not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is within which framework do we operate and achieve the key performance indicators for each of those places. Like the last week I talked about issue of leather products and footwear. And I was talking about Kano. I was talking about Aba. I was talking about Ogun State. Now, it is not that they don't know that all the pomo that is eaten, that is produced in the southwest is eaten. They know.
So, something you have really been advocating against.
Yes. Which I know that they don't know, but what do you do about it? How do you develop the agro-based businesses and industry in the southwest? How do you develop it in the southeast? How do you develop it in the northeast, in the northwest, in the north central? How do you do that? That is the issue. What is the most efficient way? Not what you learned in school, that even your professor is 3 centuries moribund.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that is true. It's true. It's true. We know all these things. I know somebody who was taught with the handouts and our own lecture notes many years after. And I asked him, and it was the same old lecture note by my classmates who are now become professors.
So we're not getting contemporary with our
even learning. When you get contemporary, there is nothing. That's why everybody comes out from reading computer science in the university. He has to go to a professional school to study computers again, because most of the lecturers are actually moribund. Then somebody puts in, he wants to do medicine, you tell him to go and study animal science. So what I'm trying to say is that the governors have to sit down. We can advise them, it's free. I mean, you can advise them for free. But consultancy.
What's the difference? Consultancy.
No. We can advise you. Don't look that direction. And look, these are the pitfalls. The people that came before you, they spent 30 billion and they didn't achieve anything. We'll give you statistics. Why don't you look at this direction? We will give you the mechanics of success and we will support you to succeed. Nigeria is not having challenges because of lack of ideas. It is who are the executors of the ideas. Somebody takes one person's idea and he has certification, plenty grammar, he's certified, he's from the right tribe, has the right relations, and he messes everything up and he goes away. And the beat goes on. So we have seen it happen in my years as in the micro, small, and medium enterprise ecosystem. I've seen many things.
I can imagine.
That are ruined because of opportunism, nepotism, and all manner of things. So we are saying, okay, it can be nepotistic, no problem. I don't quarrel with that. Let some things work. We can now, when we are selecting those who will be part of our consultants in our project managers in our shared facility industrial cluster, they will obey the rules and follow the template. You can bring them as professors and whatever.
Okay. So Apostle William, you have, in your bid to really go in depth into how we can achieve MSME's development in Nigeria, you have touched all the sectors that can benefit and contribute to this. However, you keep talking about the shared industrial facility clusters. Is this the only way forward that you see for the MSMEs? We
have looked at, number one, we looked at one of the major problems that makes banks not to fund MSMEs, which is startup failure syndrome. That's what I call it. They say most
70% of startups fail within the year.
Good. And all those grammar, but they have no solution. So the shared facility industrial cluster template we have can conquer shared facility failure syndrome. Lack of mentorship. Issue of failure through individualism. Every individual is providing his own infrastructure, is providing market access for himself. Everybody is providing standards, and no, until standard organization catch you, you can be substandard. You get it now. But in a shared facility industrial cluster, the issue of standards are solved, infrastructure, financing, local patronage, innovation, training, skills acquisition are solved in a comprehensive and integrated manner with all the service providers, regulators, all in one stop. Like the federal government has to call the one-stop shop.
Yes. Now you've taken it off my head.
One-stop shop. Yes. People don't know how to register their company. NAFDAC is on one side. Everybody.
Son is on the other side.
So when you now have one-stop shop for government regulatory agencies and enforcers, and you have a one-stop standard provision, one-stop local patronage, one-stop international patronage, practically all integrated, but above all, low or relatively low cost production costs.
What will make it? What will make the production less?
No, because you are in a cluster. You are not providing your own generator.
So the value chain, okay.
The value chain and the supply chain is all consolidated.
Right.
And there's trust. They trust every product coming from that cluster, whether it is from Kara Namoda. They know that it is Buy Naija compliant. You know why? Smidan is with us, Son is with us, Nebza is with us, every other person is involved. So nobody will come and give me a shoe that a Chinedu made that the heel will go off. You know why? Because the adhesive they use are all standardized. There's a reputation issue here now. Whether you are buying it in Houston, or you are buying it in Windhoek, or you are buying it in Luxembourg, it's a standard. Oh, but this thing is from Nigeria. I'll say, okay. I know Nigerian cable. I know the Nigerian shoe. I know the Nigerian shirt. Bah. That will redefine the Nigerian brand completely. So anybody that messes up his own colleagues, his association, his union, his town union, his a production group, will sanction the person. Oh, but you want to spoil our name? You know, go work now. Are you a witch? They send you. If they send you, go back to your village. But for this cluster, you know, go work. It becomes a culture. And today, you go to China, they have different grades of products.
They do.
If you want them to give you EU standard, they'll produce it for you. But it is not so in Japan. Everything out of Japan is good. But before, it was not so. Everything out of Taiwan was not known as it is today. Before, it was not so. The same thing in Korea. But we want to get the made in Nigeria brand to be acceptable globally. So you need to have, for us, within the context of our reality, with all this infrastructure deficiency, standards deficiency, finances deficiency, if we now have shared facility industrial clusters, commercial clusters, and housing, so we don't now begin to shout on government, give us housing. We no get house to live. Somebody is working in Apo. His house is in Maraba. He can't get to work. He can't afford the house that is near Idu, where you put the industrial facility.
Right.
But if there is an industrial facility that you place somewhere in Kuje or in where do you have this dam?
Kanji Dam?
No, not Kanji Dam. The one close to us here. The one Buhari area.
Right.
And you have an industrial, agro-industrial, because there's so much water there. Yes. Like these governors are talking. If I want to set up an agro-industrial cluster there, I'll put it around Buhari area, near
the dam.
Near the dam. And create plenty fish lakes there. And we know that there is a standard. You won't feed the fish with toxic things that will make them big. Yeah, there's a standard. So when you hear that the fish is from Buhari area, oh, okay.
That must be good.
That must be good. The fish is from Imo River belt, where you have fish lakes, up to Akwete, up to Ahambele, to Azumini. Then you say, okay, that's good. The last asa I ate from there. Or you put some in somewhere before Warri, along the river Niger, you have asa, you have Nile Patch, you have all manner of fishes there. Because you have fish legs around Benue. So when the flood is high, I don't have a template for flood trapping.
Mitigation, right.
Yes, using fish legs.
As
the bank.
Flood mitigation plan.
It will not mitigate flood, but it will tap the flood and trap the fish. And it will mitigate flood affecting the city. It's there. It doesn't cost anything. You just need to think out of the box. I don't know where the box is anyway.
So you don't have a box in the
I
first
don't
place?
have a box.
In the first place.
I don't have a box in the first place. So I said, well, listen, you, na Twitter. Me, na Dua. We they do. Give us a chance to advise you end to end from value chain to supply chain. It's a simple thing. My place in Ndoki land, of which Ohambele, Azumini, and all of them there, we can combine fish legs plus tourism. Our sand is white. If you don't remove the top black soil, you will see white sand. You will see you'll be watching fish under. You think it's deep. So if you go to Azumini, the Azumini Blue River, it turns green when it rains.
Right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. You go to a cross river. They have one of the biggest resources for dams and waterfalls. They are there. Cross River has one of the largest deposits of black granite. But the road leading to where the black granite is not motorable. So the resources are just wasting everywhere. And all the professors are speaking big grammar, plenty grammar, and everybody wants to go into politics to make money. Whereas the resources are all over the place.
Okay, so we don't have so much time any longer. We have about 5 minutes. Just stop checking your time.
Yes.
We have about 5 minutes to go. So let's finally conclude this. We've been talking about the faith-based organizations. We've been talking about NGOs and so much really. But let's put it into perspective now. That if we can,
I want to round up
in
this
5 minutes.
These high net worth individuals, please get in touch with Joyasonyelive. If you need further information, they can reach us. Get in touch with Joyasonyelive on this television station. Please, let's help this country. For faith-based initiative, you can always invite us. We will advise you free. Then project management and consultancy terms and conditions apply. And we are talking about result-based counseling. It's no longer time. I can't be on this on screen. I'm not boosting my image or building a brand. I'm not an activist. Let's get the youth and the elders to work. Talk is cheap. But we can do. What do they say in Warri? Talk and do. When we talk, we do. Both with the elders and the youths. Like I always say, the youths are not smiling.
And something must be done.
Something has to be done, and very quickly too. So, like I said, I'm not an activist. I'm a solutions template provider within the context of my sphere. And the little I can do. I can't do everything. But together, the high net worth individuals, the faith-based initiatives, the state government, state governors, state players, NGOs, the federal government, we can do a lot. I don't want people every time, hey, government should do this, government will do that. What are you doing? After now, you pack your bag. You go to holidays in faraway land. Your children are abroad schooling. Meanwhile, our children are here suffering. Some of us don't even have international passport.
I'll find that hard to believe. I've seen you travel across the world.
I know. I'm talking about some other people.
Right.
Don't have international passport.
Okay.
So you don't now tell them. You know, one thing as I close. One thing that annoys me most is for the people that ruin the country in the name of leadership, start blaming followers, that followers should be blamed. How can you blame a follower who followed you and missed the road? Maybe you say you be leader, you are leading the way. Then the people fall inside pit. You say, you know, they sabi waka well. That is not a good thing. Let us lead right, and let us learn to take responsibility.
Right.
So high net worth individuals, please take responsibility. State governors, take responsibility. Federal government, take responsibility. And everybody along the line, and parents, take responsibility.
I just want you to give us a sentence as to how parents can join in.
Encourage your children to be hardworking and to be entrepreneurs. Don't make them to become lazy and make the rest of us look stupid.
Okay, I didn't see that one comment. So okay. Thank you so much, Apostle William Tabio. Thank you. It's always wonderful to have you join us on Joyasonyelive. The Buy Naija Hour is always very energetic with you as a resource person. Thank you.
Thank God.
This is where we round it up for today's edition, and indeed this week's edition. It's been a wonderful week, going back to back with so much to learn and be enlightened about. This is where we round it up. Thank you for being with us through it all, and for those behind the scenes who do this wonderful job of ensuring we come on air and be heard and seen. I must thank you again, but be rest assured we'll be back next week for so much more. Have a blessed weekend.